All right, Dr. Jess, welcome to the show finally.
Thank you. Thank you so much for having me.
The VA piece is really big, and I don't know why we do this to ourselves with the multiple email addresses, and it's like we try to keep things separate, but when it comes time, now I'm not in any way wagging my finger at you, Jess, because I've gone through this. I know exactly what it is, how it feels, and kind of like that, just that loss. And also being driven by emails is a big piece too. And I kind of, in my process, I got to a point where I just stopped. I know you can't do this, but just stopped emails. I stopped the text messaging thing. I let my team know, this quadrant piece of priority, and urgent stuff, important stuff, because everything is urgent, everything's important, everybody has to have my attention now. And the answer is no, you don't. We need systems and processes in place so
That's
that we don't
good.
have to communicate like that.
That's so
And it was
good.
mind-blowing when my phone stopped ringing. Like it took some time, but the idea was like, I used to, this phone I'm holding, for the listeners, I'm holding up my phone. This thing used to run my life. And it was insane. Something was always on fire, something was always happening. But it kind of leads into the lifestyle by design, life by design. There's a path forward that you create.
That's right.
That drives this quality of life. And
I agree.
when we have these things, it's like, it's so difficult. So I've been there, asked these questions. There are so many resources to connect, to simplify your life. But one of the first hires, I think I hear you going into this, not necessarily new direction, but new opportunities, just of speaking, partnering, those kinds of things. There's more happening in your life.
Yeah.
So the VA stuff is really interesting. And one of the very first things we did with the VAs is give them a little bit of responsibility and a little bit of access, right? With very clear standard operating procedures, very simple. And a lot of the VAs are based in the Philippines. Wonderful, wonderful, very helpful team members.
Yeah.
But it could lighten your load so much.
I believe it.
Never miss an email. You could have 15 email addresses. As long as you have the right SOP, you can get through all of this stuff. So what's keeping you from getting a VA?
I'll have a patient, like 2 weeks ago, I had a kid that came in that had a bone infection. And we were trying to organize with like MRI or something. And so they knew that we needed to have it done at 6 a.m. He's going to not be in PO after midnight. And so, the time comes around, I put in parameters. I come and they're like, it's not done, or something wasn't, I can't remember a specific. And then I'm thinking, like, well, this is your patient too, like to the nurses. I said, whenever it came time and you didn't see MRI call or whatever, why didn't you think, let me call and see what's going on? Like, why do I have to be the person to come and be like, can somebody call and see what's going on? Like, why aren't you as engaged? And so I deal with this all the time. And I feel like I feel this that same way in my business. Like, if I'm going to make sure that it got done, I need to do it. But I know it's not true in all the ways, but I keep having these experiences that reinforce that belief.
Yeah, I hear you. And the more that we get into business as an entrepreneur, the farther we get away from the product, the most of the time. We get into the people piece.
Yeah, we do.
Yeah. It was crazy when my phone stopped ringing. It was insane. I'm like, is there anybody in there still? I'm still important, don't you?
Yeah. Like, does anybody talk to me?
All right. But it's that exercise of know thy time. I can't remember which book it was, if it was 4 Hour Work Week or something like that, or The One Thing. I think George Keller wrote that book. Awesome. Both of those books, great books. And really understanding where you're at, because that allows you to step up and really value your time, Jess, because what makes you so valuable is your attention. And when you can't give that
That's true.
attention intentionally, when
Yeah.
people steal that from you because of the system you've created, the system that you allow, you're devaluing your time, you're devaluing your blessing that you have.
That's right. Coaching me today, Brett.
Come on with it. And it's all unsolicited. I do apologize.
No, I love it. I always think these, you know what? I needed to hear that. You know, you're just confirming what I've already kind of been aware of. I'm reading Amy Porterfield's book, 2 Weeks Notice. And not that I'm giving it 2 weeks notice because I control my time anyway already.
Yeah.
But she talks about like creating what's called like tiger time. And it's like, this is whatever, if this you've decided from 9:30 to 11 on Mondays, it's your time, you're gonna work your business. No one else, you gotta be like a mama, like a tiger, like a tiger's
Mm-hmm.
you're gonna protect your territory. That's how you have to be. And when I was thinking, while I was reading on the flight back home from the conference in Chicago, I really paused and thought about, I'm gonna study like where am I putting my time? Even as simple as when I got home and my house was a mess and I told my husband, like, what have y'all been doing? But I was like, you know what? I'm gonna invest in like some house, like we need to invest in someone to come and just clean up this place sometimes, like even if it's like twice a week to do, because we see previously I wouldn't do it because I'd be like, it really only takes this much time, but that's the wrong question. The question is not how much time does it take. The reality is we all have the same amount of time, is what we're doing with that time, right? So yes, it may only take me an hour to do the laundry, but if someone is using their hour to do that, then what could I be doing with my hour, right?
Come on.
And so, so that is, I was like, I've been asking myself the wrong thing. Like,
Yeah.
I could be doing something
I'm gonna
else with
layer
that
this
hour.
in. Yes, I'm gonna layer in on top of this is, what could I be doing with that time? That's a big piece. What could I be doing with that time? And then if I can block that time together with something else, it's massive. Outsource, outsource, outsource. Get out of those $5, $10, $15 an hour jobs. Get rid of it. Learn, implement, outsource. You know how to do this. You can implement your process or your procedure. Go ahead and outsource that.
You know, and so I actually love using my phone to time myself with things. I actually do it when I'm at the hospital because I used to get distracted. Again, that urgency thing. Like the nurses will come and want to insert their, hey,
Stress.
this patient or this. And it's not even in on purpose. Everybody's moving from their own perspective, right? Like a patient just told them this, or they just asked them this, and they want to make sure they don't forget to tell me so I can remember to address it with them. So I just now on my list, I write down, okay, this is what it is, but I have said I'm going to take this hour to finish these notes, and I'm going to take this hour to finish these notes unless somebody is dropping a baby out of themselves right at this moment. and that had helped me because I would be so distracted and going to solve everybody else's stuff. And the thing is, I can do a lot of the stuff that they can do, but they can't do a lot of stuff that I can do. You can't come and sit down and write my notes, but they're going to make sure all their stuff is documented before they leave before the end of the day. But I'm still there past 7 or whatever, trying to write a note on a patient. So I was like, I had to get wiser on my time in that too. And like, where are the distractions coming? So I'm very good at studying myself. It's so important. You have to study yourself.
Yeah, absolutely. Self-realization, masterful.
Yes, it's a game changer.
The idea of building leaders, and when somebody comes up to me and says, "Hey, can you do this?" If I have the opportunity to say, "Hey, how would you do this?" and if I can show them to grow them, it is huge. I would add to that point of raising leaders. I think that's the biggest piece. That's where you can multiply yourself. If we go out and we look for somebody who can do 80% of what we can do in the business, then we're in a good place, right? We're in a good place. I will never find or grow that relationship if I'm maintaining this idea that if I don't do it myself, it's not going to get done. I'm the opposite of that spectrum, Jess, because I will give you everything. I give you all my trust. I'll give you all the responsibility. And then all of a sudden I look up and you're taking a week off or something like that. how sick we work virtually. You can't have a sick day. Come on, you're not gonna get anybody in the office sick. Come on with it. But that's not gonna keep me from taking those steps and making those.
That's true. I just got to treat it like when you have a resident. Yeah, like when I've been working, and I think that's why the Lord is moving me into this place where I'm going to be working with residents again, because I've been only solely working just by myself, you know, obviously with the nurses and stuff. But now I'm going to be working with residents again. And I had some that I worked with about a week ago, and it was that kind of frustration of, I got to let them kind of go a little bit and then like follow up. But I didn't die. My husband's like, see, you didn't die. Yes. But it did help me to understand about like that, and in part, but also equally learn from them too, right? So Absolutely. It was good.